Right, you lot, buckle up. I've got my cup of coffee right here. We're going to be talking England, and more specifically, who Gareth Southgate should take on his 23-man squad. I know there's some talk about it going up to 26, but I've seen a lot of people doing the tier list, which is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be tier listing it up. 23 players on the plane. Who should he take from an Aston Villa fan's perspective? So as you can see on screen, we have the tier list. There's loads and loads of players. There might actually be more that I add as we go through, even just for consideration. I've gone through and made sure all the goalkeepers I want are definitely on there, but you can see we have plenty of players to talk about and go and select. And as you can see, it's broken down into the categories of goalkeepers, centre-backs, full-backs, midfielders, wingers and strikers. A 23-man squad going to the Euros this year. Maybe 26, but we're going to stick to the 23. Let's get right into it with goalkeepers. If you do enjoy this video, leave a like, subscribe so I know that you guys enjoy this different style of content. Leave your England Euro selections down below. Let's get in to the safe hands. So yes, we have loads and loads of players to go through. We're going to start off with what I think is probably the most important position on the pitch, and that is your goalkeeper. He's your base of your whole team, and we have 5 to pick from. There might have been 6. I am going to take 3, but Sam Johnston has been confirmed to be injured for the rest of the season, so he will not be going to the Euros. And to be honest with you, probably wouldn't have picked him anyway, so that's one that you can say I wouldn't have picked. But let's look through the other 5, and we're going to kick things off with Burnley's number 1, James Trafford. If I bring up his stats here, and this is his total stats this season, he's made 106 saves, a 63% save ratio, conceding 62 goals, but underperforming his expected goals sort of faced, and how he should be saving them by nearly 7.5. So he's let in 7.5 more goals than he should have. Only 2 clean sheets from 28 games this season. I understand he's playing for Burnley, but 5 penalties faced, conceded all 5 of them. 1 error leading to a goal. He has acted as a sweeper 20 times and made 30 high claims, which is very, very high, probably higher than the rest of the keepers on this list. 182 accurate long balls, only a 26% accuracy on that though, and a 62% pass accuracy. If we move on, we're going to look at England's current number 1 and Everton number 1, Mr. Pickford. 86 saves for him this season, a 68.8% save percentage ratio, conceded 39 goals in 28 games in a struggling Everton team, only underperforming his XG in terms of saves and goals conceded by 0.4, which is decent. 8 clean sheets, 7 penalties faced, however conceded all 7 of them, which isn't great going into an international tournament where penalties could be a factor. No errors leading to a goal, acted as a sweeper 19 times and 18 high claims. 300 accurate long balls, effectively at a 44% success ratio for those, and 62.8% overall for his pass accuracy. We move on to another player who was on the lips of every England fan as our number 1 goalkeeper a year or so ago. However, with the introduction of David Raya, these stats are what Aaron Ramsdale is left with this season. Only playing 6 games, I believe it is, 9 saves, a 64% save ratio, 5 goals conceded. He's underperforming his XG by nearly 1.5. 2 clean sheets, 1 error leading to a goal. I think we all know which one that is. Acted as a sweeper 3 times, 8 high claims, a 65% pass accuracy, 23 accurate long balls and only a 30% accuracy on those. And I added in here the discipline as well. I don't know why, but he hasn't been carded. Well done, you've only played 6 times, I guess. And then moving on from him, we have Nick Pope. 14 games played this season, which hasn't been ideal for him. Obviously, injuries have been a massive concern for him this year, and he is going to be due to be back in April, obviously not included in our last friendlies. 74% save ratio, making 40 saves in those 14 games is very, very impressive. 14 goals conceded. He's actually outperforming his expected goals in terms of faced and conceded by nearly 2, which is very, very impressive. 5 clean sheets in those 14 games, 1 error leading to a goal, acted as a sweeper 11 times and 6 high claims. His pass accuracy is 73%. He's only attempted he has only completed 40 long balls at an accuracy of 34%. 4%, but you compare that to Pickford? Yep, 44% and 62% on the pass accuracy. So his pass accuracy is actually higher in terms of short passing, and his long passing perhaps lets him down a little bit. But those goalkeeping stats, they are quite saucy. And again, we move on to my outside pick, and actually someone that I don't think has been spoken about enough going into these Euros, and that is Jack Butland. He left England altogether. He's gone to Rangers, got them to the last 16 of the Europa League, where they went out to Benfica, and he has been playing very, very well up in Scotland. 56 saves, 16 goals conceded, and nearly an 80% save ratio. He's outperforming his XG by nearly 4.5, which is insane. 17 clean sheets up in Scotland, 2 penalties faced, not saving any of the penalties, no errors leading to a goal, acted as a sweeper keeper 7 times and 13 high claims. His pass accuracy is nearly 80% and 40% pass accuracy on 100 long balls. That is pretty crazy. But I've been waffling on now for a few minutes. Let's switch over to the tier list that I have in front of me, and I have all of these goalkeepers here in this tier list. What 3 would I be taking to the Euros? We've gone through all of their stats. I can tell you right now, Sam Johnstone that we have here, let's put him all the way to the bottom of the pile if we can, because he is not going. He's injured, and he can't go effectively. Let's switch those two around so that he is at the bottom. The first goalkeeper for me that's on the plane, purely because he's been England's number 1 for so long, is the man that I'm hovering over, Jordan Pickford. Let me scroll up here and put him in his rightful spot as a goalkeeper. Little T-Rex arms. Yes, his stats actually haven't been that impressive when you look into them this season, but he's been England's number 1 for so long now. He's played every game of the Premier League this season. He's a stalwart at Everton. I think he is going to be the first name on the plane in terms of goalkeepers. If we scroll back down here, another man that isn't going to make the cut for me is Aaron Ramsdale. Simply hasn't played enough games this season, doesn't look interested when he does play, and in the 6 games that he's played, he made a very, very fatal error leading to a goal against Brentford, and he just hasn't played enough for me. It's as simple as that. The second name on the plane for me is going to be that man in orange right there. It is Jack Butland, invigorated his career now that he has gone back to playing regular first team football in Scotland. His stats are insane. He's completely outperforming all of his metrics in terms of how many goals he should have been conceding to how many he actually has, and I think we have to take that into consideration. His pass accuracy is good. Is he as good with the ball at his feet as Jordan Pickford? No, but in terms of a pure goalkeeper, I think he is really having a season, and he's just gone under the radar, and I feel like he needs to be on that plane to the Euros. And then my final choice is going to be, if I can find him in amongst the hundreds of players that it is on there, he is right there. It is your main man, Nick Pope, coming back from injury very soon. I just think that he has to be on that plane. In terms of a pure shot-stopping goalkeeper, I think he's the best that England got. Yes, he isn't as good with the ball at his feet, but you just have to take that out of consideration right now. He is the best goalkeeper, like pure goalkeeper England have. He's a giant of a man, and I would back him to be on that plane, which means that that other man right there, James Trafford, if I put him to the bottom, just misses out purely because playing in that Burnley team, he's just not been good enough this season. He's only 21, his time will come, but not this year. So next up, we're going to have to do this a little bit differently now because there's a lot more options to choose from. We are going to be going through our centre-back options for the Euros. And this is where probably my opinions are going to start differing from people. Now, I've tried to blend this England squad with players that I think deserve it on merit this season, as well as players that have been in and around the squad and that Gareth Southgate likes. This is who I would take if I literally took over from Southgate tomorrow and was just told to go and lead England into the Euros. This is who I would take, and I'll explain every reason why. Now, my defensive options, I've gone for flexibility and versatility in terms of players that can play a few different positions, as well as filling gaps if we need them to. And I think that will become quite painfully obvious when we do go through it. So let's go into the omissions, and what I'll do is I'll get up the stats of the players that I am going to be taking afterwards, just to show you why I am taking them. So we'll go through here. The first one up there, Ben Mee, is injured, so he goes straight to the bottom of the pile. And then we scroll across. The first big omission, played for England twice in the international break and made an error leading to a goal twice in each game. one in each game, that is. Done it for Brighton in Europe as well, letting Lukaku score, and I just don't think that he can be in this England squad after those two performances. A great player, no doubt, but Lewis Dunk, for me, has not done enough this season, and certainly did not do enough in those two friendly games to warrant his place on that plane. We scroll across there. Harry Maguire is the next player that we come across. Now, Harry Maguire came under so much stick last season and early this season. He's actually come back, won Player of the Month for Manchester United, and he's been in the England team for so long now. He's pretty much ingrained into that team, and he does add a presence. He's a big fridge, isn't he? He's a Becco fridge freezer. You could chuck 10 days of lunches in him if you wanted. He's that large, and a great aerial presence as well. So he's the first player for me. He's definitely not going as a winger, but he's the first player for me that goes on my centre-back squad. Next up, if we go back down the list here, we have Chris Smalling. Only played 4 times for Roma this season. Did have a bit of a career rejuvenation under Mourinho over there, but it hasn't really worked out for him this season, and he hasn't done enough. Ben White, we're going to get to as a right back in a bit. Fikaru Tomori of FIFA Legend. Everyone that plays FIFA and knows that this guy has 86 pace will tell you that he deserves to be on the plane. But AC Milan are struggling this season, not doing as well as they have. And again, I just don't think he hasn't really been in and around the England squad very much. Would it be too much to bring a player from a different league in who isn't like lighting the fire, lighting the world alight over in Serie A? For me, he needs to have a better season. He gets omitted from my squad. We keep on scrolling over until we come to the next centre-back, which is there. James Tarkowski, an ever-present for Everton this season, who have had their struggles, and he has good stats this season. For me, he's very, very much too similar to Harry Maguire, and I think Harry Maguire is the superior player. He can only play centre-back. There's no versatility really around him, and like I say, he is pretty much like, if Harry Maguire is the Becco fridge, he's just like a fridge freezer. He's just like, when you can just buy the little mini fridges. Not for me this season. This is a young chap here. I've forgotten his name. That's bad of me, isn't it? I did just do my research on it, but it's already gone out of my brain. But a Fulham centre-back, not for me. Hasn't really done enough. Fulham are a good team, but he'd be in the England squad if he had been doing better. And then we move on to my second player who's on the plane. It is Wagwan General Stones. He gets straight on there for me. England's best centre-back. Hasn't played that much for Man City this season, only getting 14 games. But we all know his quality. He adds a different kind of bit of sauce to the defence in terms of how good he is with the ball at his feet. And him and Maguire have been our centre-back partnership for as long as I can remember now. So I feel like you have to keep at least those two in and around the squad, just for pretty much, apologies, stability's sake. We keep on scrolling across here. I might miss out a few centre-backs as I'm scrolling across. There's so many players here. We get to Quansah from Liverpool. Only just broken into the first team. Hasn't done enough for me. So he does not get to go this time. And then we get to the next big decision player, Jared Braithwaite. A bit of a revolution for Everton this season. Quick, 6'5", left-footed. Yes, he's young, but he's done enough for me. I feel like, whatever we've been doing in the last few tournaments hasn't worked. We haven't won anything. Whenever we come up against a good team, we fall apart. I'm really shocked he didn't get minutes in the March friendlies, and I feel like he has done enough this season for me to get on that plane. He had something completely different to the team. He's a natural left footer, which I think we need at least one of in the centre-back lineup, and he gets on the plane for me. My first big call. I like him. I feel his pace means that he could fill in a back three. He could fill in at left back if we really, really needed him to in dire circumstances. He has that aerial presence. I'd love to see him and John Stones in the middle. That would be brilliant. And then we move on to the next bunch of players here. If we keep on going across and we come to, I believe that there is Mr. Dan Burn. Again, for me, not done enough this season. Newcastle haven't done enough this season, and I feel like just on the ball, he isn't quite good enough to get in to this England team. And we keep on going across. Levi Colwill, we are going to get to a little bit later on. Stay posted for him. And Mark Guehi, again, not enough. Adebayo, not enough. for me, although a great centre-back. Again, I'm taking nothing away from these players. They're all fantastic players, but just for me, not quite enough. Joe Gomez we'll get into a little bit later, if we keep on going across here until we come to our next centre-back, which is the last one I'm taking. It is Ezri Konsa. Now, I'm taking him not just because I'm a Villa fan. We'll get into his metrics soon. He is an absolutely fantastic centre-back, and he can play right-back and fill in. And when you see my right-back choices, you might see why I've gone for Konsa. Do I expect him to start every game? No, but he is just fantastic. His metrics this season are fantastic. If Villa finish top 4, he's done more than enough to go, and that makes up my back 4. But why have I picked that back 4? Let me answer that for you. And here is why I picked them. First up, General Aston's only played 900 minutes this season, 953. Not the most in the world, but still got a goal. In terms of his passing stats, 93% pass accuracy. The kid's second to none when it comes to playing with the ball at his feet. 70% long ball accuracy as well. We move into his possession. Yes, his dribble success hasn't been great this season, but look at the touches, nearly 800 in 900 minutes. Aerial duels he's winning 76% of, winning 50% of his tackles. Dribbled past only 3 times, which is very good for that amount of time played. Not as good as another player, but we'll get onto that, won't we? And then no red cards as well. We move on to Harry Maguire. Like I said, come back in the second half of the season. He has played nearly 1,200 minutes, getting a goal. His non-penalty XG is very, very high. 2 assists as well, which is good. 61 accurate long balls, 83% pass success ratio, 54% on his long ball accuracy. 900 touches, 27 in the opposition box. We know he likes to get forward for set pieces. He's winning 70% of his tackles, 75% of his aerial duels, and he's only been dribbled past 8 times as well. We move on to Jared Braithwaite. Again, probably my most rogue pick in this defence. 2 goals this season, no assists, but 1 expected assist. Again, pass accuracy nearly 80%, so it's not low. I know it's red there, but it's not low by any sense of the imagination. 40% long ball accuracy. Possession, successful dribbles, 83%. 25 touches in opposition box, hasn't been dispossessed this season. He's won 27 tackles, winning 54% of those tackles, winning 67% of his duels, 64% of his aerial duels, 144 recoveries, and only dribbled past 7 times. And then we move on to Ezri Konsa. You might be thinking you're just picking him because of that badge on your chest. You are incorrect, good sirs and good madams, because although he hasn't got a goal this season, he's on 2 for expected goals. He hasn't got any assists as well. Oh no, my centre-back hasn't got any assists, but 92.9% pass accuracy. That is absolutely incredible. Off of nearly 1,500 passes, I would like to add. 58% long ball accuracy, 7 chances created, successful dribbles 18. He's completing 80% of his dribbles. He's taken nearly 2,000 touches, 29 in the opposition box, 43 fouls won this season. He's won 22 tackles, winning 57% of those tackles. 123 duels won, winning nearly 80% of those. He wins 70% of his aerial duels, 25 interceptions, 4 blocks, 109 recoveries. He's only been dribbled past. Now, bearing in mind, he's played nearly 2,500 minutes in the Premier League this season. He has been dribbled past twice. 2 times. Hasn't been sent off. 5 yellow cards. That means, off of those statistics, he's not going to get dribbled past again for another 1,000 minutes of Premier League football. He has to be on the plane. I rest my case. Move on to our fullbacks. I'll try and refine it again. I know I'm waffling on for so long, but I feel like the England team needs to be picked like this instead of the way we are picking it off of big team merit, etc, etc. But we move on to our fullbacks. I'm going to take 4 more fullbacks again with a lot of flexibility in the positions that they can play, which will take us up to 11 players in total for defence, which allows us a solid 12 players for our attacking unit, which is more than enough, I think. So we're going to go straight down and assess our options here. The first option, Ben Chilwell. I really don't think he's had a great season. I think he looked bad for England when he did play. However, he is probably one of our only left backs that we've got left at the moment. I'm going to not move him just yet because I want to talk about a couple of other things, but just keep that in mind that he is one of our only ones left. The next one, Tino Livramento from Newcastle, has not done enough for me to go. Right now, we move on to Ben White. A good player, don't get me wrong. I think he's had a fantastic season for Arsenal, but there's been a lot of fallings out in the England squad over the last year or so for him, where he's gone home, refused to play, etc, etc. You can't be taking that into a tournament, so I think he has to sit this one out. Unfortunately for him, Reece James, too injury prone for me, needs to get himself fit. Tariq Lamptey has not played enough, and we get on to our first absolute dead cert, and that is Kyle Walker. Can play right back, he's probably England's best right back, but can also play centre back as well if we need him to. He's clearly going to be on that plane. We keep on going down, and my second right back, yes, I am taking him as a right back. Yes, he can play as centre mid, but I think one of the other centre mids who has forced his way into this England team means that I think Alexander-Arnold will be taken more as a right back option who can fill in. Now just imagine, we get onto my left back choices soon, but just imagine we have someone like Konsa who can drift out and it can go to a back three, and then Trent can step up out of the defence into midfield like how he does for Liverpool. Just see the vision. That's all I want you guys to do. I only want you to see the vision. So he goes for me as my second right back. We keep on keeping on, and we go down to Rico Lewis. For me, just hasn't played quite enough, but I think he is definitely going to be a player for the future. We go across Doherty from Luton. Just doesn't make it for me quite, but I think he will be an England player in the future if he can perhaps get a big move in the summer. I still think Luton are probably favourites to go down over Nottingham Forest despite the point reduction, but I think he will get a move to a Premier League club in the summer, and I think he could be one for the future for sure. We keep on scrolling across here, and we come over to Levi Colwill. Now again, I would be taking him more as a left back than a centre back, but I think for Chelsea this season he's just been a bit too shaky. He's still young. I think if Chelsea can come back and they can keep on building a team around players like him, for sure he'll be an England player in the future. Just not for this tournament, I'm afraid. We keep on going through here. Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Again, Basaka, I don't know how to say his name, but either way, he's not going to the England squad for me. Again, just not done enough this season, hasn't played enough. And then we come across to Joe Gomez. He's going for me as a left back option. Played there quite a bit for Liverpool this season, has been back to his best. I think when Joe Gomez is performing at his highest level, England have a right talent on their hands. Great on the ball, great going forward, great defensively, strong, well built as well. And again, that flexibility of having him come in to that centre-back role if we need to, for me, is invaluable. And then we keep on scrolling through, and it's pretty much one big battle now, isn't it? And I think we know, because Tavernier from Rangers won't be going. And this is the battle here. Kyle Walker-Peters not going for me down in the Championship. We can't be having that in an England squad, in my opinion. Which means if I put them next to each other, for me it's between Luke Shaw and Ben Chilwell. Now, on one hand, Ben Chilwell has been playing all season for Chelsea. On the other hand, he hasn't been playing very well. For me, I think he's not had the greatest season in his career, and those two England games, I just did not like him in those two England games whatsoever. Luke Shaw, injury problems, as is always the case with Luke Shaw. However, can play centre-back, and when he is fit, he's England's best left-back for me, when he's fit. If he can come back fit... Now, I would like to add a caveat that Ben Chilwell goes over Luke Shaw for me if Luke Shaw can't come back and get back to full fitness before the end of the season. I think he's due back in April time. It means that he can have a good run of games towards the end of the season, and if he plays well, he is my last fullback. Let's get into the stats of those fullbacks though, to give you a little bit more of an explanation as to why I've picked them. So this is why I have picked my fullbacks. Kyle Walker, no goals this season, but 2 assists. Nearly 1,600 successful passing, at 90% of that being successful. 72 accurate long balls, 57% long ball accuracy, 30% successful crosses, 18 successful dribbles, nearly 2,300 touches, 16 fouls won, winning his tackles at 64%. 24 aerial duels won for him this season, 7 blocks, 133 recoveries, dribbled past 17 times and 22 interceptions. And I think his pace and his strength and his physicality and his know-how, he's 32 now, he's an experienced player, he's a leader in the dressing room. He has to go, doesn't he? So let's be honest, he is going. I think that's probably the best way to put it. We move on to Trent. 2 goals and 4 assists. Not his most profitable season, but he has been playing in that new role of coming into the midfield. He has played 1,600 minutes this season, 79% pass accuracy from nearly 1,000 passes, 44% long ball accuracy and 31% cross accuracy. We know he's a dead ball specialist. Again, for free kicks could be very, very handy. 25 successful dribbles, nearly 1,800 touches. He's winning 67% of his tackles, which is actually pretty good for him. We know his defensive side of the game is his weakest side. Let's be honest, is he a world-class defender? No. Is he a world-class player? Yes. 66% of his aerial duels being won, 11 blocks, 23 interceptions, 138 recoveries. He has been dribbled past 47 times, but again, he's not coming into this England team to be a world-class defender, if we haven't already said that. We move on to Joe Gomez. Primarily, again, I'm taking him as a left-back. 1,500 minutes played this season in the Premier League with an assist to show for it. 85% successful passing off of nearly 800 of them. 59% long ball accuracy as well on top of that. 14 successful dribbles, 1,300 touches. He's won 24 tackles, which is a bit more than the rest of them. 63% of those tackles being successful as well that he is putting in. 92 duels won. He's winning 74% of his aerial duels, which is another good thing when we're having crosses pinged from left to right against us. He's got 5 blocks, 14 interceptions, 80 recoveries, only dribbled past 30 times and no sending offs as well. And then Luke Shaw obviously played not that many minutes this season, 962, but what do you notice about that? It's more than John Stones, and he'd be the first name on many people's team sheets. This is why I think Luke Shaw has to go if he's fit. 85% pass accuracy this season is very, very good. 63% dribble success rate as well. 776 touches, winning nearly 73% of his tackles. Aerial duels, etc., recoveries. They don't look great on paper, but I think we all know that he's our best left back when he's fit. He has to go. And next we get on to our midfielders. Now this is where stuff starts to get a little bit crunch timey. In terms of how many players I've taken 11 so far, which leaves me with 12 players to pick from. Now I'm going to, a little bit of a spoiler alert, I'm only taking 2 strikers with me to the Euros. So that leaves 10 players that I can split between midfielders and wingers. Now I feel like in midfielders I'm including my attacking mid. So I'm going to take probably 5 and 5 in terms of 5 wingers, 5 midfielders and 2 strikers. So that can tell you how many slots I've opened up here. So let's have a little look. Let's go down and have a little look here. Tavernier, again, not going for me. We look next to Ross Barkley. Not good enough for me, I'm afraid. No, not going. Jared Bowen, we'll get back to wingers again, of course. Angel Gomez, not good enough for me. Jordan Henderson should be nowhere near this England team, in my opinion, I'm afraid. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion, that's what I think. But let's get into some players that will go, shall we? If I keep on scrolling across here to find my first player that's going in the centre mid spots. Again, Phil Foden, don't worry, I'm getting back to him, he's a winger for me. And it's Conor Gallagher, captain in Chelsea for a majority of the season, played a majority of minutes, actually been one of Chelsea's better players as well this season. I feel like he has a bright future ahead of him, and I feel like he has to go off of the merit of what he has done this season. Again, could there be, a mad future for him in the England squad? I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like off this season alone and his metrics, he has to go, and we will get into all of those later. Of course, the first name probably that's going down on Gareth's 23-man squad is Jude Bellingham, and he goes straight in here as well. England are clearly going to play this 4-2-3-1 system that we've been liking. We're going to have the 2 holding mids with the number 10. I think Jude Bellingham can operate in any of those positions, and that's why he has to go. And he's probably one of the best players in the world as well, so that's probably like another little argument for him. Kobe Mainoo is going for me. I think he had some good cameos for England a couple of days ago in our international friendlies. He's probably the most natural pivot that we have at the moment alongside Declan Rice, and that's why for me he has to be on that plane. So every now and again there's just a young player that comes along and you can tell it's their time to do something special, whether it was Rooney back in the day, Michael Owen back in the day. I think this is his time, and for me, he goes. And then we keep on going across there, and it is, of course, the main man, Declan Rice. For me, he goes as well. Probably one of England's best players. He captained England against Belgium. 50 caps now, playing for Arsenal this season in a title challenge. He has to go for me. And before I reveal my final pick, which would start from, where are we, here onwards, that's all the goalkeepers, so Harry Kane backwards. Let's go and talk through some of the players that are on there. We have James Maddison up for consideration in that number 10 role, but can also play as a number 8 if we need him to. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, one going under the radar this season for AC Milan, having a good loan spell there. James Ward-Prowse doing the beeswax for West Ham as well in their Europe push. One of the Longstaff brothers there. We have, what's his name? Wilson? I can't remember his name now. Plays for Newcastle, went from Arsenal. Not done enough for me. That kind of gave that one away that I don't remember his name, isn't it? Cole Palmer, for me, is more of probably a winger / attacking midfielder, so he might go in the other one that we're doing. Who knows? Calvin Phillips, not done enough for me. Morgan Gibbs-White, not done enough for me either. Harvey Elliott, not quite his time just yet. Curtis Jones is one that I would put next to Maddison in terms of he could go. He could be one of the ones that does go. So we'll pop him down there as well as our maybes. Phil Foden I see more as a winger as well. And we scroll through. Mason Mount hasn't done enough for me. He's been injured and he hasn't been playing that much. Eze, more of a winger, but again, can play number 10, but wouldn't be going for me. James Ward-Prowse hasn't done enough. Loftus-Cheek hasn't done enough. Longstaff hasn't done enough. Oliver Skipp hasn't done enough. For me, this last spot is between Curtis Jones and James Maddison. I feel like because Bellingham has that ability to drop in and play those two roles that we have, they're probably going to be covered by Mainoo and Rice. We need another attacking option as well, and for me there is no one better than that than James Maddison at the moment. Curtis Jones just misses out and James Maddison completes my midfielders. Why have I picked those 5? You know I'm going to show you the metrics. Let's get into it. So why have I picked the midfielders that I have? I think England have actually been blessed with a lot of midfielders, a lot of quality midfielders recently, something we haven't had. Let's get into the first one, Conor Gallagher. 2 goals and 5 assists this season. Nearly 1,300 successful passes with a 90% pass accuracy rate. That is actually really, really good. 70% effectively long ball accuracy and 28% cross accuracy. He is completing nearly 70% of his dribbles this season, 1,900 touches, 38 fouls won. He's won 41 tackles, winning 60% of his tackles this season, 51% of his 147 duels, and 33 interceptions, 164 recoveries. He's having a good season, you can't deny it. But now let's have a look at Jude Bellingham. Now these stats actually look ridiculous. This just goes to show how good of a player he is. FYI, it's effectively all green, by the way. Our team has to be built around this man. There's no ifs, ands or buts or maybes. It has to be. 16 goals. Insane. 3 assists. 1,000 successful passes. 90% pass accuracy. 83% successful long ball percentage as well. Ignore the crosses, who cares? 39 successful dribbles. He's completing 60% of his dribbles. Nearly over 1,600 touches. 122 inside the opposition box. He's won 83 fouls. He's winning 83% of his tackles. He's winning 53% of his duels. 50% of his aerial duels, 19 interceptions, 12 blocks, 99 recoveries. He's won the possession in the final third 27 times. Those stats are ridiculous. He's probably going to be the best player in the world for a long, long time. God, I'm so glad he's British. We move on to Kobe Mainoo. Again, one that maybe his stats don't really do him justice for this season. But I'm taking him because, like I say, every so often you just get a feeling that a young player is going to do something special. And I have a feeling he's going to do something special in these Euros. 1 goal, no assists. 85% pass accuracy though, which is good off of 400 passes. 50% long ball accuracy as well. 13 successful dribbles, completing 60% of his dribbles. He's only been dispossessed 13 times, which is quite nice. 15 tackles won. He's winning 60+% of his tackles. He's winning 55% of his aerial duels. So he's actually a lot more built than general 18-year-olds. 46 recoveries, 13 interceptions, only been dribbled past 12 times, which, considering the role he plays for United, I think is mightily impressive. And then finally, again, another fantastic central midfielder that England have been blessed with, and that is Declan Rice. 6 goals, 5 assists, 1,600 passes, completing 91% of those passes. 68 accurate long balls this season, completing 56% of those. Cross accuracy 35%. Again, touches over 2,000, nearly 2,200. He's been so active for Arsenal and really has been the heartbeat of that team. 56% dribble success rate. He's actually improved on that quite a lot. He's won 34 tackles, winning 61% of them, 114 duels, 35 interceptions, 17 blocks, recoveries 133, and winning possession 21 times in the final third. I mean, that's impressive. And then finally, James Maddison has been out for a little bit of the season with injury, only managed 1,400 minutes, but an absolutely gem of a signing for Tottenham. 4 goals for him this season, 7 assists, 86% pass accuracy. He's created 44 chances this season. Dribble success rate under 50%. Again, something he's going to have to work on, but his passing ability, I feel like, does make up for that. 84 touches in the opposition box out of nearly 1,300 that he's had this season. He's won 51 fouls. Again, when we have someone like Maguire in the team, or Branthwaite with his height, could be a good asset to have a player who can win fouls. I understand I left Jack Grealish out, but oh well. 55% of his duels have been won as well. 9 interceptions. He's willing to do the dirty work. He has to go as a number 10. Now we move on to probably the point of biggest contention. We have 7 spaces left. We are going to break it up from wingers and strikers, and I feel like this is where the most arguments will happen in this England squad. We have been blessed with a lot of wingers this season that are playing a lot of good football, but there are some that stand above the crowd for me. So let's go through it. I'm taking 5. I feel like we've got so many good wingers. We have so many ways that we can mix and match this England team up. We have to do this. That's just my opinion. Shoot me if I'm wrong. Oh, well, don't do that, actually, please. We're going to go through, first of all, Jarrod Bowen. I'm putting him straight in. His stats this season for West Ham have been off the charts. He's been their best player by a mile, and I feel like you can't have a season like he's having without getting that England call-up. It's well-deserved, and I really, really hope that he does get it. Dwight McNeil is not going in the slightest. Rashford we're going to get back to. Grealish we'll get back to, and Gordon we'll get back to. But Cole Palmer for me is another name on the squad. I think it would be an absolute travesty if he wasn't in, like, seriously in the shout for Young Player of the Season this year. He has been quite simply amazing. I don't think there's any other way that you can put it apart from that, to be honest with you. And we keep on scrolling through here. Sancho, 100% not good enough this season. Phil Foden, one of the most naturally talented players in the England squad, probably in the top 3 for players in the England squad in terms of pure natural ability. I think him, a certain striker that we'll get onto, and Bellingham are right up there. And I feel like we have to build the team around those types of players. So he gets on the plane for me. You can see it's filling up quite quickly. Jacob Ramsey, again, I'm a Villa fan making this. I'm going to have to shout him out, but he's just not been good enough this season and deserves to be nowhere near that plane. Sterling has not been good enough this season. Noni Madueke is one that I would actually like to talk about, which we'll get into a little bit later on. But our 4th spot has to go to Bukayo Saka. Fantastic young player. Probably going to win Young Player of the Season, although I would actually give it to Cole Palmer because he's been a revelation for Chelsea and probably one of the only reasons that they're so high in the table. Him and Conor Gallagher have really been holding it down in that midfield role. I went to watch Aston Villa against Chelsea at Villa Park when they beat us 3-1 in the FA Cup, and he was one of their best players on the pitch by a mile, and he was winding up the crowd, which I quite appreciate. Which means that we have 1 spot left for our 5th winger spot. You can see I've eliminated a lot of players quite quickly. And if I go and mix match all of the ones that we have left, so yeah, again, he's not going. Again, Marcus Edwards not going. So we have Madueke, Grealish, Anthony Gordon, and Marcus Rashford. What a tough decision that is to make for me. I feel like you just can't deny the other 4 wingers that are above them. And we have, again, 4. We've been blessed with 4 wingers that are just fantastic that might or might not go. I'll go through the ones that I don't think are going to go. And that for me is Noni Madueke, a fantastic player, having a good run of games for Chelsea and a great run for the England under-21s. But I think it's just too soon for him this season. Another season of Premier League football under his belt. I think he leapfrogs the likes of Rashford, etc. And Jack Grealish hasn't played enough for me. Yes, he offers something slightly different, but I feel like he hasn't played enough this season. And for that reason, he can't go. And that's purely because of these 2, Marcus Rashford and Anthony Gordon. Both been brilliant this season. Both definitely should be in with a shout of getting in this England squad. Who gets the nod for me though? Do you go for the fresh-faced Anthony Gordon, who has burst through the scenes at Newcastle after his big move from Everton in the summer, or do you go with the tried and trusted Marcus Rashford? Coming into a little bit of form is Rashford. He is coming into a little bit of form. He has had his struggles. I feel like off the pitch he's had his struggles this season. Is he at his best? Is he going to be fully focused for this tournament in the summer? This is actually the hardest call, I think, of the whole entire squad for me, is which of these 2 go. It is actually really tough. And this is a 50-50. This could go either way. But I think experience for a big tournament has to win. And I feel like Marcus Rashford over Anthony Gordon. That's probably the harshest exclusion of this squad, would be Anthony Gordon. But for me, it has to be Rashford. Let's get into the metrics. And we get into our wingers. And I'm going to start off straight away. Jared Bowen. Why is he in this team? Please have a look at these stats before you say he shouldn't be anywhere near this England team. 14 goals this season. Amazing stats for him. 3 assists. 75% pass accuracy off of nearly 400 of them. He's created 23 chances, 9 successful crosses this season. We move down to his possession stats: 27 successful dribbles off of 40%, 1,000 touches, 33 fouls won. He's winning tackles, 61% of them to be precise, and duels, interceptions 17, blocks 16, 100 recoveries, and 22 times has he won possession in the final third. He's an absolute workhorse. I feel for me he is better as a winger. I know he's been playing as a number 9. He does have that flexibility as well, which is another reason why I have him in the team. But again, those stats are undeniable. He has to be in there for me. And then we move on to Cole Palmer, my choice for Young Player of the Season. 11 goals and 8 assists for him, which is absolutely insane. 37 chances created. 84% pass accuracy off of 771, 32 successful dribbles, completing 48% of them, 1,281 touches, not even that many in the opposition box as well. He operates in and around the outside of the box. I like that he has that different kind of flair about him. Again, he's willing to do the dirty work: 13 interceptions, 15 blocks, 74 recoveries, and possession won 20 times in the final third. Amazing. Again, you'll see that there's a lot of green metrics on our wingers. We have been really blessed this year because Phil Foden, 11 goals, 7 assists, 88% pass accuracy there, 57 chances created as well. He is an absolute amazing player, man. I can't believe he's English. He has so much flair about him. 39 successful dribbles off of 52%, 1,800 touches, 176 of those becoming in the opposition box and winning 46 fouls along the way. Again, willing to do the dirty work: 13 interceptions, 36 blocks, 108 recoveries, and 1 possession 27 times in the final third. Oh, look at that. It's all green again for Bukayo Saka. 13 goals and 8 assists, an absolutely amazing season for him. Again, 83% pass accuracy, 68 chances created as well, 39 successful dribbles, 1,600 touches, 215 of those being in the opposition box. That's a good stat to have as well. 26 tackles won, 156 duels won, aerial duels, he's won 19 of those as well, 10 interceptions, 33 blocks, 129 recoveries, and 32 times one possession in the final third. It's amazing. And then our last, he's a bit of our X factor, Marcus Rashford. 7 goals, 2 assists, 77% pass accuracy, 20 accurate long balls this season off of 54%, 44 successful dribbles off of 48%, 143 touches in the opposition box, 22 blocks, 71 recoveries, 1 possession back 13 times, 191 duels. He might not be the best, but he's got that X factor in him. Now we come on to, for me, the easiest part of this video, and that is the 2 strikers that I will be taking to the Euros if I was in charge. The first one, let's just go and find him straight away, because we know, I think everyone knows he's on the plane, don't they? Let's look for that nice Bayern Munich kit. Where are you, good sir? Oh my God, why is he hiding? There he is. Harry Kane, one of the first names along with Bellingham on the team sheet, and I'm going straight in for it. It's Ollie Watkins. He gets the nod over Ivan Toney for me. You will see why very, very shortly. Another honourable mention would be to Dominic Solanke, who you can probably see there just underneath. But a lot of the other players just haven't done enough for me. Ivan Toney only scored 4 goals this season. Callum Wilson not playing. Colton Morris just not good enough for me personally. Like I said, Solanke, Calvert-Lewin, all these players are like there or thereabouts, but just not quite. I'm taking those 2. End the story. Let me show you why. I said this was easy. Harry Kane's stats, you can see why he's going. 31 goals and 7 assists for Bayern Munich this season. Pass accuracy of nearly 75%. Cross accuracy 26%. 897 touches and 31 goals is insane, by the way, for a striker. Winning his tackles, winning his duels. 31 blocks, 46 recoveries, 1 possession back 16 times in the final third. You don't even need to worry about that. Harry Kane is one of the best finishers in the world, if not the best finisher in the world, one of the premier strikers in the world, and he is going to go no matter what unless he gets injured. And then why Ollie Watkins? Have a look at that before you try and argue with me. 16 goals this season. 10 assists as well. The only player across Europe's top 5 leagues with double figures for goals and assists in terms of strikers. And 76% pass accuracy off of 354, 39 chances created, 19 successful dribbles, 858 touches. I mean, I can go on for days with him. 19 blocks, 57 recoveries, 17 times has he won possession in the final third, only dribbled past 6 times, won 94 duels, 37 aerial duels. He has an aerial presence about him as well. He has to go. He has to go. And I wanted to do this last bit of the video because there is talk that Gareth Southgate and a few other managers are going to go and ask for a 26-man squad this summer. So who would be my 3 extra players that would get on the plane if the squad was expanded to 26 as opposed to the 23 that it currently is? And I think it's actually a pretty hard one to decide. The first one that comes to mind for me is right there, and that is Anthony Gordon. I feel like he's had a good enough season to warrant a call-up and being on that plane for me. The second one, possibly you'd look at an extra defensive option and maybe go to Ben Chilwell to go on there to fluff out your defence, especially with England's left-back concerns, although he could be on the plane if Shaw isn't fit. And then, again, probably another defensive option. I don't know exactly where I put him, but where is he? There he is. Levi Colwill, again, would be a consideration. Ivan Toney, a consideration, probably over. And I think I'd probably actually go for that as my 3 extra ones. Colwill, Anthony Gordon, and Ivan Toney, I think, would fluff out my squad. Just if I had to pick an extra 3 players, I could probably look into it and make more arguments for other players. But I think those 3 for me would probably be the first ones that would come to mind. You can see it on screen right now in front of me. That is my 23-man squad. Can England win the Euros is the big question. I'll probably go over it in another video a little bit later down the line, but my initial answer is no. I don't think we can win anything with Gareth Southgate in charge. We've been blessed with the wingers and midfielders from the gods this season. I think our defence is a little bit shaky at the moment. Our goalkeeper options aren't quite there, but midfield forward, I feel like we have absolutely been blessed this season. What do you think of my squad? Any changes? Leave a comment down below. Like I say, more England content is going to be coming on the channel purely because we're ramping up towards the Euros and I am from England. But there will be obviously content around Aston Villa players as well. I am an Aston Villa fan first and foremost. Like I say, JJ gets left out of my squad, but Konsa and Watkins go. I feel like off of the merit of what they've done this season. I will be doing another video close to the time about what tactics and how I would line up for England. So if that's something that you'd like, leave a like. Comment down below if you do enjoy the England related content and stuff that's slightly not as much Aston Villa related, and I'll be sure to do more videos. But as always, guys, up the Villa, up the 3 Lions, I guess. I mean, I don't really watch, to be honest. I watch it every now and again. I'll watch the major tournaments. and I did watch the friendlies, but I don't know. Southgate's just sucked the life out of me with England. But just be nice to everyone. So Gareth Southgate, you have nice waistcoats, mate, sometimes. Good. M&S sponsorship. Get the bag, son.